Hey, good Wednesday afternoon, everybody. BAM Weather meteorologist Brett Waltz here, giving you another BAM Live forecast update. Be sure to like and share this post so more people can join in and see what is going on across the Midwest right now. If we take a look at our current radar, you can see here's that wintry system that we talked about yesterday. It's the onset of it. We still got 2 more days to go with it, and you can see generally right now, it's not looking like too big of a deal across portions of Iowa. If we take a look at central Iowa right now, the Des Moines area, 33 degrees. We talked about how temperatures were going to be marginal with this system yesterday, and that has not changed. We've got dry pockets of air that are also intruding within this system, so I really don't see any big changes from yesterday in the fact that I think that this isn't going to be a major winter storm, but I do think that some areas, especially in the upper Midwest, can still get a decent amount of snow. Here in the Indianapolis area, you can see 32, 31 degrees. We stayed a little bit cooler than what data has suggested so far today. That is certainly something to keep in mind. Down off to our south, though, 41 degrees down in the Louisville area right now. We're starting to surge in some of that warmer air, and again, this warm air, I think, is really going to prevent this system from producing big snowfalls across Indiana, even across Illinois and portions of the upper Midwest. I don't think that it's going to be as big of a snowfall as what we had last weekend, but it's certainly going to be a nuisance that's going to hang around raining across the Indianapolis area as we work into tomorrow. So let's move on to our photo of the day, because the one good thing about the system is that it did stream some clouds into the forecast area. So Indiana, you actually saw a pretty nice sunrise as we work throughout the morning hours of the day. Take a look. Here's our photo of the day from Jason Small, Greenwood, Indiana. Beautiful sunrise, lots of pinks and purples throughout the area this morning. Certainly hope that you were able to take that in before we got that cloud cover to move into the area. And once again, another dull day across central portions of Indiana. We go to our slides here. I'm going to go through the simulated radar over the next couple of days just to give you an idea of what to expect, where to expect that snow to come in, and when exactly it is going to come in across the upper Midwest. And of course, for the Indianapolis area, when to expect rain chances to increase. So if we take a look here at our simulated radar, as we work into your Thursday night, you can see scattered rain showers begin to develop across the state of Indiana, out to our west. If you're across Illinois, I think that as we work into tomorrow morning, we're going to have some snow showers to deal with. But for the Indianapolis area here, you can see mostly rain, especially as we work into Thursday afternoon. I would say especially after dark Thursday is when those best chances are going to develop. This is Thursday morning. You can see mostly dry here. We start to get some scattered rain showers into about 6 p.m. As we work towards the midnight hours, I think that's when the best chance of rain will develop here across Indiana and out to the west. Again, you can see where that snow lingers for the longest amount of time. But it is hit or miss. You can see there are dry pockets in northern Illinois, and then we develop that last part of the system into your Friday morning, and we put down some more snow. Still think it's possible that there's another band as we work into your Thursday here, but let's move on to temperatures, because as I mentioned, I do think that we've got marginal temperatures over the next couple of days. This is the high temperature tomorrow afternoon. We're talking about upper 30s, low 40s in the Indianapolis area, down to the south. If you were in southern Indiana, it is going to be spring-like with temperatures perhaps in the mid-40s in spots, and where the snow is falling. This is the issue with this system. This system has a lot of warm air embedded in it. There's no real cold air source that we are pulling Arctic air from. We don't have the polar vortex on our side of the planet right now, and so the system is really depending on making its own cold air. It's pulling colder air from the upper regions of the atmosphere, and that's really the only way that we are getting snow with this system. So our surface temperatures are 35, 34, 33 degrees, where snow could be falling throughout the day tomorrow, and I do think that should help limit the impacts on the roadways. If we move forward here to our temperatures Friday, no real difference there. I still think that we're dealing with temperatures that are going to be above freezing across most of the state of Indiana. Best chances will be across northwest Indiana, where we can get temperatures at times in the lower 30s. And as far as total snow accumulation here, you can see Indianapolis, Not really expecting anything for us here in central Indiana. It's off to the northwest, where I think that we could have a pretty widespread area of 1 to 3 inches of snow from eastern Iowa, Cedar Rapids, into the Chicago and Rockford area, perhaps even down towards Peoria and the Springfield area. I think that it's a pretty widespread 1 to 3 inches. There's some computer model data that's probably being shared around right now on social media that's suggesting 6 to 8 inches of snow, but based on what I am seeing right now, temperatures are just too marginal. We're not going to see that kind of accumulation on the pavement. It's just too warm with the system, and I think that we're actually wrapping in a little bit too much dry air too. You can see the splotchy nature of this. This is not a uniform band of 1 to 3 inches. It is hit or miss. It is splotchy throughout the area, so I do not think that this is a system that we are dealing with a strong band of snow that's going to put down 6 to 8 inches. I just do not see that at this point, and it's partly because some of these models do not take into account the snow to liquid ratios being lower. That they just don't have the resolution to see that. So one of the things that we do for our clients at BAME is we actually do have several models, this being one of them, that takes into account those snow to liquid ratios, that takes into account the actual temperature that snow is falling in, and it also takes into account if there's a mix of rain and snow. So a lot of models you may see on the internet sometimes, they're actually including sleet, freezing rain, and a mix of rain and snow all in their snowfall accumulation, which can obviously lead to big errors when we have these marginal temperatures. So the real question is, why are our temperatures so marginal? I will get to that in a second, but precipitation totals, they've lowered a little bit across the Indianapolis area. I think that we are still probably dealing with a good 1/4 to a 1/2 inch. May have a couple of areas if you're in southern and southeastern portions of the state of Indiana into southern Ohio that could see up to 3/4 to even isolated 1 inch of rain if you're down in southeastern Kentucky. But wanted to touch on here why we are struggling to see cold storm systems, why we are struggling to see snow right now. And you can see, if we look out to the next storm system next week, it's doing the same thing that this one is doing right now. I don't see any big changes with the pattern that's really going to produce anything different at this point. It's going to be an upper Midwest storm system, probably some rain here in the Ohio Valley, and it probably will be a pretty weak storm system. And again, it's because we just do not have the cold air source necessary to really produce big snowmakers. Take a look, this is the polar vortex. If you are a cold and snow fan, this is not what you want to see. You want to see this polar vortex dislodge south into Canada, at least into Canada, so you can start to tap into some of that cold air during storm systems. And in more of the extreme cases, like 2013-14, we saw that polar vortex dive down into portions of the upper Midwest. It's locked over the pole right now, and I do not see that changing. This is a big warm signal. It is trapping all of that Arctic air up towards the North Pole and not allowing it to go south into the mid-latitudes. And if you take a look, the other thing that we do not want to see, if we want cold and snow, is a big trough or area of cold air near Alaska. When that happens, when you have a big trough here, you force a ridge of high pressure and warmth across the Hudson Bay into the northern United States. We may get some activity from the subtropical jet stream, but wintry-wise, not a very favorable setup. You know, you may get some chances if you're in the mountains here to the east coast, but I even think that will be hard to come by just because there's no real source of cold air down here. This is primarily because we have an active subtropical jet. So again, cold near Alaska, you're usually going to be warmer than normal in the continental United States. What we want to see here is a big ridge of high pressure that will allow this polar vortex to drop south into the United States and cool us down, and we just do not have that set up right now. So that's all I have for today's forecast. Happy to open the floor to some questions. I'll take a look at our Facebook Live video here just to see if we have any good questions. Doug says, Mike, on point with this forecast. Yes, we've had a couple of issues, especially with me. I think that Michael likes to let me be the guinea pig here and use the new microphones first. So I've had a couple of issues with those. Luckily, it's all sorted out now. Barb says, sweetie, I want 70 and sunny. It will come. And before you know, once we get past February, I know we've got an extra day this year, but it does seem like spring gets here pretty fast, especially if we can go without all the big snowstorms in March this year. Dustin says, good afternoon, and too warm for us snow lovers. Definitely is too warm, but hey, maybe this will give us a better chance of some more severe weather this spring. Those of us that love severe weather have kind of been missing out on that, obviously. Don't want any injuries or anything like that, but it is fun to at least track. Alright, Barbara says, Friday night for LaPorte, Indiana, what's it look like? I do think that if you're in LaPorte, you need to keep an eye out. That's still pretty far out as far as official forecasts go, but I do think that if you're in northwestern Indiana, you at least have the chance to see some snow. Alright, Barb says, I love my live updates. We are happy to do them for you. Please be sure to like and share this post so we can continue to do that. We love doing them. We love interacting with you all. Please be sure to share that so we can get more people involved and more questions in, because I do love answering them. Justin says 50, 60 degree temps in February for Indy. I would not rule that out at all. In fact, some places in western Nebraska are probably going to get up into the 50s over the next 10 days or so. So certainly would not rule out 50s and 60s in February, especially as we work further into the month. Debbie says, we've been lucky this winter. That depends on your point of view, but yes, if you don't want the snow, we have definitely been lucky so far this winter. Now, I will say, it was the snowiest December in Indy since I believe it was 2013 or 2012, so we definitely did get more snow in December than what we have the past several years, but we're paying for it now with being tied for the least snowiest January on record right now for Indianapolis. Alyssa says, tuning in late, are we going to have a winter for Western Ohio? Not looking great at this time. Depends on your opinion of what winter is, but as far as seeing the normal winter conditions, I do not see that at this time. I think that we're still going to trend warmer and less snowy than normal over the next month or so. Jason asked, does the rest of January look mild like it has been? Yes, I think that the rest of January is going to be several degrees above normal across the Indianapolis area. I think that most of the country, in fact, over the next 10 days is going to be a good bit above normal temperatures. Did the groundhog get the memo that we are starting spring early? Hey, we will touch on the groundhog when it gets here on February 2nd. Actually, there's a pretty good stat out there, and I don't know the exact number, but I believe it was around 39% of the time the groundhog was right. That's not a very good record. I think that we've got a little bit of a better record than that. Right now, definitely could have some early spring-like weather. We'll keep you updated on that. All right. What's your thought on March coming in like a lion and out like a lamb? At this time, as things stand, I don't see early March being a big winter weather hit. I think that we're still kind of probably going to be dealing with those more mild conditions, but it's a long way out. We'll continue to update on that, but based on what I see now, I think we're dealing with a little bit of a warmer than normal start to March. All right, that looks like it's about all of the questions we have. Any last minute questions out there? Let's see. Brian, any questions from Periscope? All right. Well, with that in mind, feel free to tune back in tomorrow. Please like, share this video so we can continue to do it. We are happy to do it for all of you, and hopefully we'll get some more exciting weather here in the Indianapolis area to talk about over the next couple of weeks. It's not looking great wintry-wise, but maybe we'll have some better weather. So that's all we have for today's forecast. Hope you have a great rest of your Wednesday.